a normal person. Like, people would consider me normal and you not normal. But like, what even is normal? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
I
like
know,
normal
I know.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was tell to people, that there's no such thing as normal, because, like we were talking about earlier, that everyone is a human being, where some people, like, they might regret something that they've done, or they might think, oh, in the future this is going to happen. But I feel like people need to focus on the present, like now, because we're living now. We're not living in the past, and we're not living in the future.
Dylan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, of course. So you have something called MDP syndrome, which is something that not many people have. Can you go in depth and kind of tell us essentially what that is?
Yeah, so basically, I have a condition, like you said, called NDP syndrome, which stands for mandibular dysplasia with deafness and choroid features, which is quite a long word. Um, but to put it simply, it can affect the loss of hearing, and it can also affect um how I walk, and also it can affect my my jaw, since I have small ears and a small jaw, and it can affect only me and 15 other people worldwide.
Do they know like what the cause of it is?
Yeah, so when I was born like a normal child, and I lived with my mom, um, and when I was maybe 3 or 4, my mom, like some of my mom's friends, started to notice that I wasn't eating anything, and I started to lose a lot of weight, and I started to get really ill. And then my mom started to see me, and she was getting quite worried. Um, and then she took me to the doctors a few times, and the doctors did regular tests, and they did photographs and X-rays, but they still didn't know what was wrong. And so basically, the doctors just kept testing me, and my mom just keep getting worried, because it was only me and my mom at the time. She didn't have anyone else to talk to.
So there's 15 other people you said, right?
Yeah.
Have you gotten a chance to talk to them?
Yeah, so me and the 15 other people have a Facebook group that we talk to each other, and I've also managed to meet someone with the same condition, which was quite amazing. So they're from Norway, and because all of us are from different parts of the world. And so I went to meet this man called Lassie, and he's in Norway. And I'm one of the youngest people with the condition. A lot of the other people are quite old. And and it was quite emotional meeting someone with the same condition, but I also felt that it was just so good to meet someone who's just like me.
Right. I mean, I would imagine that that's like an incredible experience.
Yeah, so just an incredible experience, and just an experience that'll always stay with me. Um, and also just being able to talk about what it's been like having the condition, and the how, like, I know, like, there'll be challenges, but also just how we've coped having the condition.
Right. Yeah. Since you guys are able to talk to each other, I mean, that's a great thing because you guys can give each other advice, share your stories and all that. And then, yeah, get each other's opinion on it and connect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just about connecting and making, well, basically just telling one another that we were given this condition, but it's not something to be afraid of. It's something that it might have changed our life, but there's always the positives, and there can be a few negatives, but I think it's to always focus on the positives about the condition, because I feel that since having this condition, I'm able to tell a different story and to view the world differently from other people.
How do you think you view the world differently?
I think that I found something, I try to find things that make me happy, and I try to surround myself with people who make me smile. Um, so things like dancing and also photography, those are two things that have really helped me to just keep loving myself, but also to show people that it's not really about how we look, it's about the personality and the kindness and positivity that people have.
I agree with you. And what something I try to think about is and on the outside, all of us look different. But if you take all that away, on the inside, we're all the same.
Yeah.
So, you know, did you want to say something?
Yeah, so again, just talking about like how it shouldn't be how we look, it should be about personality. And I feel that since since me doing photography and dancing, I've been able to show people what I'm good at, but also to show that you anything is possible. There might be like a barrier or something that you have to go through to be really good at something. And I feel photography and dancing have helped me to keep being strong and to keep staying positive. And I feel that photography and dancing have also helped me to connect with other people. And lots of other people have been really supportive. And again, my family and friends are also really supportive because they're always there for me. And it's really good that I can continue to keep doing the things that I love doing.
That's great. So yeah, you talk a lot about positivity and kindness on your Instagram page, and I really love that. What I know it's a very important thing in your life, and I know that's the reason why you're trying to share it to people. So kind of just tell me why it's so important to spread that positivity.
I feel it's really important to spread positivity because lots of people, I know that the world, some people aren't really kind and some people don't spread that positivity. And I feel like it's what the world needs more of. And I feel me spreading that positivity and kindness can help brighten someone's day. If someone's having a bad day and they're feeling that they need someone to talk to, and I feel I want to tell people that if you are having a bad day, there is always someone to talk to. It doesn't matter. It might not be someone that you know, but someone is always there to talk to you, and they'll ask you, "How are you?" And just by asking someone how they are can really help boost their confidence and also help them to stay positive and to keep going on with their life.
Right. Now, I think, when I make my videos, when it's like a message that's a positive one, what I think to myself is, let's say 100 people view it, and 99 of them think it's dumb, but it helps one person. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, basically when I do my videos, I always try and I don't really care about how many people view it. I just want to try and get the message across to people because I feel that if I keep producing videos and keep giving positivity and kindness, more and more people will spread that positivity around the world. And I feel that we need to not put each other down. We need to keep fighting together. And we know that when we stick together, we can fight through anything.
I love that. I think negativity is something that is so potent in today's world, and like you just said, spreading positivity is the cure for that.
Yeah, so I feel like when people are together, like I said, that it, I try and help people that are feeling alone, and I feel like when I've helped someone, like when I see someone else happy, it makes me happy because I've helped them in a way that's helped them bring a smile to their face.
Right. So I know I was scrolling through your comment section. I was looking at all the replies people were giving you, and most of them are positive. But how do you deal with the negative comments?
Again, like since I've been growing up, um, I have received a few negative comments, and I've learned that there is always going to be that negative comment, regardless of what you post on social media. Because I feel like that there is always that one person who's trying to spread hate and trying to put you down. But I feel like there's always the positivity that's better than the hate, because there's more positivity than the hate. And also, I feel like when someone comments a nasty comment, all the people who send a kind comment sometimes try and talk to them and ask them why they did that hate comment. And recently, someone did put a nasty comment on my video, but someone who sent a nice comment talked to them, and the person who sent the hate comment was really embarrassed because they felt sorry for what they wrote. And I feel like then that person was to change their mindset, and then they ended up putting a nice comment. So we my viewers were able to change that person's mindset and to think, well, why don't you put a nice comment instead of just putting a really nasty comment?
And that's a beautiful thing that they were able to talk to that person and actually get them to change their mind, because that's not really something that's always common in today's world. Like, a lot of people are like stuck in negativity, and it's very difficult to get them to become positive. So in terms of social media, I saw a video of yours. You were talking about how it's good and it's bad. Can you go in depth about that?
Yeah, so like I was saying, that social media, it's like having the world. So you've got like the world, and then you cut the world in half, and you've got the nasty side on one side, and you've got all the kind comments on the other. And I feel like it's never going to be one or the other. There's always going to be that negativity, but also there's positivity. And I feel like when I post a video, I just love reading the comments that I get from lots and thousands of people. And when there is a hate comment, I have learned that it used to make me quite upset when I used to get a hate comment, because I feel like when I get a hate comment, they want to get a reaction out of me from the hate comment. But I've learned now that I don't actually read the hate comment. I just do an instant remove comment and block, because I feel like reading that hate comment will bring my self-esteem down, and again it'll make me negative, and it won't really want me to post another video, because I've read the nasty comment and I thought, well, people don't like my videos, so I'm not gonna post again. And so basically, when I see the nice comments, it makes it, I see that people love the videos and that they want to see more videos every day.
Yeah. I mean, something just to realize is that usually, like, when I watch YouTube videos and I watch people's videos, if I don't like a video, I will never comment something negative. I'll just move on with my day or whatever, even if I don't like the video. But if I like it, then I'll comment something. But the point is, I'll never say something negative because I don't see the purpose in it. And, what I've come to realize is so many of the people that take the time out of their day to comment that negative thing, like they're most likely doing it on like all the other stuff they do too. And, some people, like that's just what they do. Like they see your video, they comment something negative, they scroll the next one and comment something negative, and it usually comes from like a state of lack. Like people are usually who are negative all the time. It's like they might not be in a great place in life, so like they feel the need to like try and bring other people down. So I mean, the important thing to realize is just like you don't have to let that bring you down because it's like why let someone who's just spreading negativity bring you down to that. I think it comes to it's very important for us to just like be aware and be like, all right, like like that it's the moment where like someone says something to you in real life that you don't like and you have that
Yeah.
urge to like say something mean back or whatever, but you can take that like that 5-10 seconds to realize, all right, I don't have to be angry about this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You also talk about how to love yourself. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah. So I think when I was younger, I did when I was first diagnosed with NDP syndrome, and I was age 10 when I was diagnosed. Um, so when I was diagnosed, I didn't really know how to cope having the condition, and as I was to go to the shops and go to school, lots of people would just stare, and I would wonder why is everyone staring? And then I would get really scared and I would hide myself away. So at break time at school, I would always just sit in the corner. And I always used to have a baseball cap that I would have on, and I would put my hood up with the baseball cap on, so people wouldn't be able to see, they wouldn't be able to see my face. Um, and I was just like that through almost almost the full time at primary school. Um, just people not being able to see my face because I was scared, and I I was scared on how people would react to seeing my face. Um, and then near the end of school, and I found that then I realized that it is okay to be different. And when I realized that, I then started to not wear the hat anymore. And I really want to tell people a story on why I look different. And then I wanted to talk to an audience and talk to the people in my school about what MDP syndrome was. And I ended up doing an assembly where all the year groups would sit and watch me talk about and hear my story. And after I did that, I felt really proud of being able to tell my story. And lots of people had questions after the assembly, and they asked me, they wanted to know more about the condition, and they were really eager to find out how I coped having the condition.
That's great that you had so many people that you were able to, get up there and talk about it and then have people ask questions and like actually be curious because it's like I'm sure you came from the state before of like before you realize that it's okay to be different, you might have felt like, oh, like I'm different, right? And then like kind of like a bad thing. And in that moment, I guess that was probably a moment for you to realize that like people are actually like now that they know your story, it's like they're genuinely curious as to like what everything is like for you.
Yeah, I think it almost felt like being trapped in a bubble, and I feel like what I did, I felt like that no one cared. So basically, that it's like school was like somewhere where no one cared about me, and it was just a really lonely, and I was very isolated. And then I would come home and just go to my room. Um, and basically, when all this was going on, I was afraid to tell my mom and my dad because just being really scared and not having anyone to talk to, I wasn't confident enough to speak to my mom and dad about it. But I felt like as I got older, I was more confident to talk to them about it. And then when when I did talk to my mom and my dad, they were like, right, why don't you um talk to more people about it at school? And then that's when more people I started to get lots of friends, and then again I started to do talks outside of school. So I did a talk um at this other school. I did a talk at another school, and that really helped with my confidence as well.
Yeah, I always, developing your confidence, it takes time, but it's time well spent because yeah, that skill will pay off for the rest of your life. And yeah, the fact that you were able to have the courage to go up on stage and talk to people at these different places and share your story, like that's not something everyone can do because I mean, that because before that, in an earlier time in your life, you weren't able to do that because you weren't confident enough.
Yeah, so I feel like as I've got older, I have become more confident because I've learned that I can tell a story and I want people to hear my story. And I feel when telling my story, more people will end up talking to me and more people will be more curious about what the condition is, but also they want to, well, they'll want to be my friend, and also people want to know more what it's like to be me.
Yeah, I think most people have we have this sort of judgment if somebody seems like they're different. It might be in your case, or it might just be, just someone, a younger guy who, just doesn't talk to people and he just spends time alone, whatever it is. And people like tend to look at those people and they're just like, oh, they're different, right? Like, I don't need to hang around them. But like, since you opened up about your condition and what life is like for you, people then started to realize that you aren't like this super different person in terms of like you're not like me at all and we can't relate on anything. And people have this perception of like they're too different for me to even interact with them. But then when you opened up, people realize that, hey, like he's not that much different than me. Like maybe I should be friends with him. He might be a pretty cool guy.
Yeah, I feel like some people do have that first, oh, look, there's someone over there. So they make that judgment really quickly. So that's what I've learned also, that so many people will judge people really quickly. Like they'll look at someone and just judge them straight away. But I feel like you need to kind of get to know the person before you judge them. Like you might judge them after, but I feel like when you get to know someone, it'll change your view about that person. So I've learned that when I talk to someone, I've got to know them better, and then I can maybe be their friend, and just exchange and talk about like what we're good at and how what we struggle with, and we can talk to each other how to get better about those struggles, and also just to help be supportive. I think that's another thing, is to always be supportive and be just try and support people who need it the most. I think because there's some people who need more support than others. And I feel like when we give that support, it helps them and also helps them to be a better version of themselves.
Mm, yeah, because but when you're able to give that feedback and try to bring someone else up, you know, it it might like some people you could give advice to and try to help them and they won't take it, but then you could also to someone else and it could really, really help their life.
Yeah, it's just that, like you said earlier, just that one small thing that you could do for someone can change their life. Just that small act of kindness that can really help boost someone's confidence and also to help them to stay positive.
Yeah, and going back to what you said before, people like and what we were talking about, how people will usually judge based on just what people look like when they first see them. But it's and what's it's so true what you said about getting to know the person instead of judging them how they look because there's so many people where you could like look at them, like you just look at someone in public and you think, oh, they might be a really nice guy, but they might not be very nice at all. And then you could look at someone and then think, oh, they look like intimidating. They don't look like a nice person. And then you go up and talk to them, and they're like the nicest person you've ever met. So it's just that yeah, like you just said, that lesson of you know getting to know people before you judge them, because after you get to know them, and if they're really bad people, then you can judge them. But at first you shouldn't.
Like I learned that someone could be really good looking, but their personality could be really bad. Like I've met so many people who are really good looking, but their personality is terrible. And so, but then again, like I just when I want to talk to someone, I will go up and talk to them, and then it just what it kind of what what they're talking about is, if it's something that's really positive and something that's like kind, then I'll keep talking to them. And then, but like if they're rude or if they're not very engaging, and then I'll just walk off.
Yeah, I mean, that's the importance of like surrounding yourself with, the right people, because I think so many of us have people in our lives that we know aren't good for us, and we know like there's like a toxic relationship and connection to that, but so many of us will just stick around anyway because it's like most of us have like a fear of losing that friend or whoever it is, right? So we'll stick around. But what I always tell myself and other people is, if you're that positive person, if you're genuinely trying to be better all the time, you know, even if those people aren't in your life right now, they're gonna be in there eventually if you keep being you.
Yeah. But I have a question for you. If you were to tell a message to the world, what would you tell them?
I think not to worry so much because I think whatever we do, whether it's work, school, whatever it is, we're all stressed out so much. But people will say, like think about whatever you're stressed out right now. In 5 years, in 10 years, is it going to matter? Is it even going to be something that you think about? And if the answer is no, then it's probably not even something you should be worried about. Because I think we place so much extra stress on ourselves. And I even do it to myself. So that's something I'm still working on. I think that's something everyone's still working on. Because, at the end of the day, I think about all the stuff that I'm stressed about right now, right? And let's say I'm 9 years old and I'm about to die.
Yeah.
All this stuff that I'm stressed about, that's none of that is gonna matter. So, it's not to worry so much and then focusing on the positive. And focusing on the positive, sometimes it's easier said than done. But if you can develop your mindset and convince yourself that, the world isn't this incredibly negative place to be that, because I think society has a pretty powerful way in trying to tell people that the world is a primarily negative place, but it's not. Like, in terms of some events that go on and things that going on in the world, yes, there's a lot of negative stuff, but it's like you just open your door and you go outside for a walk and you just realize how beautiful just like life is. So
Yeah. I think what I would say to the world is that, like you said, that there is a lot of negativity, and I feel like that some people do look too far into the future. And so I think, and some people do look in the past, where some people, like, they might regret something that they've done, or they might think, oh, in the future, this is going to happen. But I feel like people need to focus on the present, like now, because we're living now. We're not living in the past, and we're not living in the future. I feel like when we focus now, we do think about the future, like, oh, we think, oh, I'm going to live in this country in 2 years. But I feel like when we focus now, we're able to keep calm and keep positive when we think about it now. Because if we look in the past or in the future, then, like you said, you might feel stressed, or you might feel a bit frightened maybe of what's going to happen in the future. But I feel like just the time is now, and we should just keep doing what we're doing every day. And just, I feel like people should do what makes them happy, and also to try and surround yourself with people who make you happy. Because when you do that, you will have a happy life if you surround yourself with people who make you laugh, and surround yourself with people who love you for who you are. And I feel like I've learned to do that, to surround myself with people who love me, and that's helped me to keep going and to keep loving myself.
yeah, I think the point you made about living in the present moment. I think that's such a great point that you made because it's so important because like what we all have to realize is that the past, it happened, and whatever mistakes you made, whatever happened, you can't go back and change it. So in a sense, it is what it is, and so you can look back at the past to analyze your mistakes and be like, all right, where did I go wrong in this? How can I make this better, right? But when we look, I think so many of us look at the past in a sense of like, oh, like I messed up with this and like, oh, I wish I did that. And it's like, yeah, but you can't now. So, you got to live in the moment now because this is the time where you can make those changes and you can try to get better. And then a lot of us think about the future in a sense of, oh, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but if this doesn't go well and I'm nervous about this. And, what always happens is you get so nervous about something today, even though the event isn't today, and then tomorrow comes. And then 5 minutes into whatever you were nervous about and you're doing it, you realize you shouldn't have even been nervous about it in the first place. It's like, this is fine. Like, like we think about everything, every little thing as though it's the end of the world, when it's really not a big deal.
Yeah.
So just the importance of living in the moment, because like this moment that we have now is the only time that will ever exist. And you can think about the future all you want, but when the future comes, it will be now.
Yeah.
So it's just it's a crazy thing to think about.
What I also say is that you only get that one life. So I feel like you've got to live your life to the fullest. You've got to find stuff that you love doing. You've got to surround yourself with people who who will support you and who will love you for who you are. And I feel that when you live your life to the fullest, because I feel like time does fly by, time goes really quickly before you even know it. Like, I still remember when I started primary school, which was about 8 years ago. So time just flies by and you don't know where the time's gone. But I feel like when I look back at the past, I can look at memories. I can look at all the moments that I found happiness and all the moments that I spent time with family and friends. And that's just something that I always remember, all those moments. And that's why I love photography, because I'm able to take pictures and keep those photos and look back at them, and then I can remember that moment.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said before, it's very easy to look back at the past and look at the negative stuff, but if you choose to look at the good memories you've had and all the positive stuff and the things that made you happy, it's that can bring you joy instead of bring you down. Talk to me about photography. When did you get into it?
So I've been doing photography for about 11 years now, and I got into photography at the start of high school, and I think that was a really good way to, well, it was a really good way to not see people looking at me in a negative way. And I feel that when I started taking pictures, my English teacher set up a school magazine, and he asked me if I wanted to showcase some of my photos in the magazine. And that was a good starting point, because lots of people in the school started to go, "Oh, that's a really nice photo," and "Oh, who took this photo?" And then that's when loads of people were coming to me and asking me, "Where do you take your photos? How did you get into it?" And I feel like I also got into photography through looking at magazines and looking at photos in newspapers. And that's what really helped me to think, oh, this is something that I love doing and something that I think I should keep doing, and just tell my story through the photographs. Because since I've been doing photography, I try to show how I feel in the photographs, because sometimes I do feel alone and sometimes I want to express how I feel in the photograph. So, for example, I'll have a photograph of one person beside a building, and that'll showcase my feeling of being lonely. And also, just it then shows people, oh, I'm expressing how I feel in the photographs. And it's also telling a story about how I see the world, because everyone views the world differently. And I feel me through photography, I've been able to show people how I see the world, and just to show people that the world is beautiful and there is so many different places and people that you can meet in the world, because the world is a beautiful place.
Have you been able to travel to different places and take photos there?
Yeah, I feel like I've been able to travel. I've been to many different places, and I think my most favourite place that I've ever been to was Amsterdam. And I really loved going along the canal and also just meeting the new people, because again, that's a great thing about having photography, is that you meet new people and you connect with new people. And when I connect with new people, I'm able to hear their story, and they're able to hear my story, and then we're able to share our photographs, because their photographs will be completely different to mine, because they view the world differently.
Do you have a favorite picture that you've taken?
Yeah, I have. Well, it's quite hard to decide on a favorite photograph because there's so many. Um, I think I think photography just goes on and on, like it never stops. There will maybe be a few favorite photographs, but there'll never just be one favorite because I do love them all. So some of them are not as good as others, but I feel like some of them I am attracted to more than others just because of the story that the photograph tells, and also the moment that that photograph was taken in.
Yeah. So then also dancing. When was that around the same time, or was that at a different place that you got into that?
So I've been into dancing since I was 4 years old, and every time there's been music playing, I've always just got up and danced. And when I've done that, it's helped other people to join in as well. And throughout my years, I've attended lots of dance competitions, and I ended up always being the winner. Um, and I feel like that's something that I'm really proud of. And since I love dancing, I have attended a dance group called Independence, and that dance group has really helped me to boost my confidence and also been able to learn dance and also to choreograph some dance. And also, I've met so many people through dance and people from, for example, I did a dance performance in Valencia in Spain, and that really helped me because that was like the first time I'd ever been away from home without my mum and my dad, and that really helped me to think, oh, I really love dance and something that I want to show people and show to the world.
That's great. You know, I'm a drummer, so I play an instrument, but I've never been good at dancing, and I've never really gotten into it. But in high school, I got a buddy. His name's Devin, and he's been dancing like since he was very young too. So he's really good. And our junior year of high school, at junior prom, like a week before, he was like, "Oh, we should like I'll choreograph a dance, and we'll just perform it in front of everyone." And I didn't know how to dance, but I was like, you know what? We only live once. Let's do it. So within the week, he taught me the dance, and then we performed it in front of everyone. And that was a crazy experience. It was a lot of fun. Even though I'm not that good, it was still a lot of fun because I think that's what life is all about, like taking risks. And even though you're like, even though it's like, "Oh, I might not be that good at this, but like I feel like I want to do it, so why not?"
Yeah, it's like you should take every opportunity that you get because when you take that opportunity, it might not be something that you like, but at least you tried it. And when you try at something, you'll always feel proud regardless if you do well or if you didn't do well. I feel like when I've been given opportunities, I've always taken that opportunity because even though it might be challenging, I want to do well and I want to make my mom and dad feel proud of me.
Yeah. And there's nothing because there's a lot of times where you can have the opportunity to take a chance and then you don't do it, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I really wish I did it. But if you do take it, then in the future you can look back and you're like, I did it.
Yeah.
And then that's just another feeling because you took the chance and you took the risk, and it paid off, even whether it worked or didn't work. Like you said before, at least you tried. And I think, in terms of, I saw a video on your Instagram of you. There was a band playing and you were dancing in the crowd or whatever. I think that's like you I mean, I don't, I don't know you personally and what you were like before, but it takes confidence to, even be able to do that. Because a lot of people, I think, even if they do dance for fun, getting up in front of a crowd and you being the only one dancing, like a lot of people are, afraid to do that.
Yeah, I feel like when, like you were saying, that if you've never done that before, it will be hard. But once I did dance in front of a crowd, ever since when I'm given that opportunity, I'll do it again because I just remember that moment and it stuck with me and it's something that made me happy and made me feel proud of.
Right. You also have autism, right?
Yeah,
Talk to me about that.
yeah. So similar to um, what is completely different to what MDP syndrome is, but I feel like it's sometimes quite hard because sometimes people will view autism as being a invisible disability. So it's sometimes quite hard to tell if someone has autism or not. Um, like one of my younger brothers also has autism, and I've been able to teach him what autism is and telling him that autism isn't a disability, autism is a superpower because when you have autism, like again, you able to view the world differently and you see the world differently. And when you have autism, it can be really hard being around such a big crowd. And I feel like that's why, because I struggled to like go in a big crowd because I had autism. And also I didn't, I found it hard to have conversations with people. And that's when um, I decided, right, I'm going to teach my younger brother what autism is and help him to just tell him that it is okay to have autism and you will view the world differently to other people. But I feel that that's a great thing and it's something that he can be proud to have autism and also just be able to show people and educate people what autism is and be able to show people that I have autism, but it's not a bad thing and it's a superpower.
Right. How, because I know there's like, there's different like parts of the spectrum. Some people have it more severe than others. How has it personally affected you?
I feel that having autism, it can be really hard to do. Well, I think when I was younger, it was hard to make friends and to also, because I feel like you need to be able to talk to someone and have a conversation with someone to be friends with them. Because if you don't talk to people and you don't have conversations with people, you're going to find it very hard to make friends and just to also be comfortable in yourself, to be able to put yourself out there and just be confident in yourself and also to talk to people. But when you talk to someone or like in a big crowd, like I feel like I started off talking to people just one to one, but then when I was more confident by doing that, the crowd just kept getting bigger and bigger. And that's early when I told you that I did that talk in that assembly where there was over 200 people there. So it's just then I was more confident about talking to people, but also new people.
Yeah, I think a lot of people view autism as like there are very, severe versions of it that like, some people can't, it's difficult for them to like function on their own. But I think people have a perception of like everyone with autism is like that. And it's not true because like, for example, you came from a place of, having trouble communicating with people and talking to people. and you've been able to gain that confidence and improve yourself and get to yourself to another place. So I think people often view people with autism like, oh, they're not able to like improve themselves like that and like gain the confidence in that and that. And I had a conversation with his name's Aaron Journal on YouTube. Shout out to him. I did a podcast with him like last week. I didn't post it yet, but he has high functioning autism. He's in his 40s, and he was telling me all about his journey and how he's dealt with a lot of the stuff you have. You know, having a lot of feeling alone, having a lot of trouble communicating with people, and having during childhood, like it was a very difficult time because it's you know you have trouble communicating with people. Um,
Well,
and
so,
so
so,
that,
sorry, someone's calling me there, so.
that's all good. So yeah, and he was telling me about that, and now he goes to the gym, he does all this stuff, and his mental health is improving. He dealt with a lot of depression and stuff, but it's like people, I think a lot of people have this view of people with autism that like they're just so different and like they're not similar to you, when it's like they're like you're trying to make your life better as well. Like it's like we're all, like you said before, we're all basically the same. Like inside, we're all the same people, like we were talking about before. It's just you guys view the world a little bit differently. But that's not like everyone, even though like, and we were talking, me and Aaron were talking about, like a normal person. Like people would consider me normal and you not normal. But like, what even is normal? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like normal
I know.
doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was tell to people, that there's no such thing as normal, because, like we were talking about earlier, that everyone is a human being, like, because everyone lives on Earth, but like, because there is that talk that will people ever live on Mars? Um, but I feel like, yeah, everyone needs to be treated equally because everyone is human, and everyone is different in their own way, and we all do weird stuff. We all smile, we all laugh, and we all have different interests, and we hang around with different people, and we all live different lives.
100%. Dylan, I really appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was very good.
Where can people check you out?
So people can check me out. I have my Instagram page, which is _yourself_Dylan. And I also have TikTok, which is the same name.
All right. Sounds good. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.